Welcome to the B. Washington Interactive Theater. Soon it will be your turn to test your leadership and decision-making skills in a crisis Washington faced during his presidency. Here's the situation. It has been 10 years since the United States won its independence from the Kingdom of Great Britain. George Washington is now the first president of the United States, and Great Britain is a key trading partner. But all is not well on the European continent. France, whose alliance was vital in our victory over the British in the American Revolution, is now in the midst of their own revolution, which is growing increasingly radical. French revolutionaries declared an end to their monarchy, beheaded King Louis XVI, and proclaimed themselves a republic. Kingdoms throughout Europe, fearful revolution will spread to their own countries, have declared war on the French Republic, including Great Britain, who is our most important trading partner. The French appeal to America for help. The two nations have a treaty dating back to 1778 during the American Revolution, which calls for mutual aid during times of war. Under the terms of the treaty, France sends their ambassador, Charles Genet, to the United States to recruit Americans to attack and capture British merchant ships operating in the Atlantic and Caribbean. The situation sets off a heated debate among Washington's cabinet members.
The French ambassador, enthusiastic for the cause, is already recruiting our citizens to fight. We are not prepared at this moment to engage in a war. We lack guns, ships, and trained officers, not to mention our Indian problems on the frontier.
We all agree we cannot fight a general war, but we need to support our Revolutionary War ally and brothers in liberty.
American citizens have no business supporting the French in this anarchic war. We think in English. Our commercial ties are with the British, and we must maintain peace with Great Britain to keep our customs revenue from any risk.
The Secretary of Treasury is only looking at this from an economic standpoint. As Secretary of State, I must remind you of our obligations. Our 1778 treaty with France promises mutual aid in case of war.
Our treaty with the French was made with poor Louis XVI, who no longer has a head. France is in a state of chaos. There is no head of state. They are at war with all the monarchies of Europe. Our young nation cannot afford to be dragged into this maelstrom.
There are those in your administration whose heads are itching for crowns, coronets, and mitres.
Enough.
President Washington issues a proclamation stating America's neutral position in the war between France and Great Britain. His decision sets off a fierce public debate. Some claim the president has overstepped his authority. They argue that Congress should make the decision, while Ambassador Genet and his American privateers continue to attack British ships. You are about to step into the role of President Washington. As President of the United States, will you take a hard line and enforce a strict policy of neutrality? Will you allow Ambassador Genet and his American privateers to continue to attack British ships under the terms of our treaty with France? Or will you ask Congress to set a clear policy? Just like President Washington, you will have to make your decision under pressure as the situation continues to evolve. You will be able to seek advice from various advisors who represent people and sources President Washington would have consulted. But be aware, they will offer contradictory opinions, and you will not have time to hear from everyone. Just like President Washington, it will be up to you alone to decide how strongly you agree or disagree with their advice and whether they will impact your decision as the President of the United States. Now is your chance to be Washington. It's your turn to lead.